Well, this is a stock that we've been talking about for a while now. It was a couple hundred points off of the highs, Scott, before it even reported the earnings, then add another 25% to that. And then all of a sudden you start to look at Netflix and you look at it in a little bit different way, right? Because suddenly you look at a PE ratio that's far different than it once was. So that was one of the thoughts that I had going into this. I said last night, I was on the evening show, the 15th anniversary of the evening show, and we were talking about a lot of things. That was going to be my final trade. I wanted to look and see where things were going for Netflix today. The guidance was what was really the worst part of what that report was. They were basically in line with some of the other things when you looked at the earnings themselves. But obviously there's competition. They brought up competition and they addressed that. We also know the international world is probably pandemic issues as well that are affecting that. And that is where the major growth is for Netflix. So after looking at this and not being in this stock for a long period of time, I waited patiently throughout this morning, and then suddenly, just less than an hour ago or so, we had a large buyer of calls in Netflix, also a seller of puts in Netflix. So what that tells me is somebody's out there looking for this stock to maybe at least get a little bit of a bump to the upside in the relative near term. We're talking about the month, 2 months, a little bit of a bump back up a little bit. So because of that option activity that I'd seen in there, that was helping to trigger for something I was already looking for. We always say have a list out, right? Well, my list was out, and on my list was Netflix, and I wanted to see it, and I wanted to see what kind of option activity we would see in there. Yesterday, there was a lot of put activity. They were wrong, Scott. They were dead wrong. I'm hoping this activity we're seeing today isn't wrong. When I say put activity was wrong, they were actually selling the downside put, just thinking it was going to be easy to collect money for a day. It wasn't easy at all. As a matter of fact, probably losing more than about 35, maybe up to $40 million on a trade, the size and the numbers that they put up. So I'm hoping on the options that we're seeing this time, this is going to be a little bit more accurate. And it makes more sense to me as well.